everyone, and welcome, welcome. How's everyone this afternoon? We're good? Are we excited about diversity and inclusiveness? Are we excited about diversity and inclusiveness?
Yeah!
We are excited.
What else are they supposed to say?
If they are excited. I am Ianna Burrell, the founder and CEO of Glasshouse Communications, do publicity, PR, fundraising, grant writing, all those great things. I'd like for each panelist to introduce yourselves and share an experience of the best client relationship or outcome that you've had in the last 2 years.
Wow. Hi, how's everybody doing? My name is Kumi, Rauf from I Love Being Black. Go ahead, get the laughs out now. No laughs? Okay, good. So we started as a fashion brand and we kind of ported ourselves over into social media in the last 5 years or so. In 2010, we hit 1 million fans on Facebook. Right now we stand at about 6 million fans on Facebook. Our whole purpose is try to uplift Black people via whatever mediums we can, whether it's the fashion, whether it's the social media, in-person interaction. And I guess in terms of brand interaction, one of our best ones was actually an NBC company called The Griot. They run the Black News arm for NBC. They're called The Griot. They are at about 500,000 fans after working with us on Facebook. So now they're bigger than all the other big hitters out there in terms of African American news. So I guess I'll keep it short. That's it.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Ranjini Mukhopadhyay. I'm the owner of Silver Telegram. We are a tech-focused PR agency specializing in startups and crowdfunding campaigns. So our main focus is really media relations and social media integration. As far as successful campaigns, I think probably a more current successful campaign is really one that crosses a lot of borders. We've been working with a particular company called Stick and Find on their international relations. So we are lucky enough to have people from different parts of the world that speak different countries, and so we're able to utilize their skills to do media relations in Asia and Europe.
How you guys doing? Kwasi Asare, CEO, founder of Fighter Interactive. We are a media technology agency. We work with clients as diverse as Monster Products, BitTorrent. We've worked with the U.S. federal government through their Startup America program. We've advised Tech for Obama. We've also worked with a lot of celebrities over the years, including P. Diddy, Lil Wayne, Snoop Dogg. We just were a co-producer of the Roots Music Festival in Philadelphia a few weeks back with Macklemore. We kind of focus on 3 areas: advising brands on how to use technology better, advising celebrities on how to engage technology, and then advising startups on how to engage brands and celebrities. So as far as a positive outcome for one of our clients, we've been working with Monster Products actually for the last 1.5 years. You guys heard from Noel Lee earlier today. And we've done a number of events with them as far as kind of getting the word out about their new products. We've done a lot of influencer seeding with them over the years, and Noel is obviously a great guy to work with and a great speaker. So yeah.
John Fortt with CNBC. I'm the tech correspondent based in San Jose. Worked with several of you before. I don't really have a great answer to that question since I don't really have clients necessarily, but I'll be sure to participate fully in the next thing.
Thank you, John. That was just off the cuff, by the way. So a couple of things we want to make a quick disclaimer, and our panel is not the only background in terms of who can speak to diversity and inclusion. We may have similarities on the outer appearance, but diversity and inclusion is beyond what you see on the outside. We're talking about language, culture, gender. There's so many things. And I like to start with kind of a conundrum thing, and we talk about the benefit factor. So how many are familiar with the law firm Morrison & Foerster? Okay. And how many are familiar with what they call themselves? What would that be, sir? Pardon me?
Mofo.
That's right, mofo, yes. And so it was someone like myself who had to bring it to their attention that that was probably not the best short name, mofo, for their law firm. Now, I just happened to know about that. It just happened to be something that I knew. But these are the kinds of things that we bring to the table. We bring a lot of experience, background, but that was a culture thing, would you say? It had nothing to do with anything else. They still call themselves mofo and they're still successful, but it was surprising to them. It became a Saturday Night Live joke. I don't know if any of you know of that. So I'd like for each panelist to speak to how the benefit factor, because that's what it is. Diversity and inclusiveness is a benefit factor. And if you all have realized, I don't know if you know, but there is now an association called the Diversity and Inclusion Association. So it's now this huge, big career that a lot of folks are kind of buying into, and corporations and all of that. So please, each panelist, speak to us about the benefit factor and how you carve that out for your business when it comes to diversity and inclusiveness. Yes.
All right, so I grew up in Santa Cruz, California. Anybody ever been to Santa Cruz? Over the hill? Anybody? Only 3 or 4? There's a beach there. Come on. So Santa Cruz doesn't have a whole lot of black people, man. Let me just be frank. So in terms of diversity, I was diversity, and a lot of times I am diversity. I went to school at UC Santa Barbara, 2.7% black people when we were there. All right, go Gauchos. But same thing, you know, I represented diversity in a lot of times because I would be the only black voice in a conversation. So a lot of times diversity means just different, something that's different than what you see in front of you. And I've been taught since a young age that different things are good, and you should embrace differences instead of trying to like basically ignore them. A lot of what we hear nowadays is like, oh, everybody's the same, blah blah blah, this and that. No, we're not all the same, but we should all respect and embrace our differences and learn from each other. That being said, so anybody ever heard of Mark Dean? No? Anybody ever use a computer? Yeah, Mark Dean, black guy, works for IBM. He holds 3 of the original 9 patents for the original IBM computer. But you don't hear about this stuff. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of times in the media, not saying you guys would do anything like this, but in the bad media, you hear a lot of kind of sensationalized news about black people. And a lot of times it's negative. And so that's sort of what we're here to be the opposite end of that seesaw. And represent positivity. So Mark Dean, like, wow, he like basically invented the computer. He, what else? The color PC monitor, that guy. The gigahertz chip, same guy. You know what I mean? So things like that. Diversity is definitely important in tech. Black people. So can anybody name the largest student-run organization in America? The National Society of Black Engineers. But again, you wouldn't hear stuff like that in the media. And this is what we try to get out there as much as we can. Anybody ever seen Monsters, Inc., the movie? Yeah, the original one, not the new one. The original, the good one. All right. So it was all about, for those who haven't seen it, it was a cartoon where monsters would go and wake up kids, and the kids would scream, and they would capture the scream and use that as some sort of energy. Right, but then in the very end, I'm sorry if I'm ruining the movie for people, but in the very end of the movie, they realize that if they capture the laughs from the children, it's even more energy than the screams. So same type of thing with I Love Being Black. Instead of getting the easy, like, oh, so-and-so killed so-and-so, story at 8 type of thing, we try to capture the positivity and put it out there. So yeah, diversity all over, not just tech, diversity all over is wonderful for people. Ask Dr. Dre, who signed Eminem. So that's the sort of reverse way of doing it, right? Eminem was like the most famous rapper on the planet for a while, right? You guys heard Eminem, right? Yeah. I was just checking, so yeah.
So Kumi, the actual company name, I Love Being Black, was there a void in our self-pride or anything of that nature? Why did I Love Being Black?
Indeed. So with black people, because of how things are sort of portrayed in the media, we have this void, as you know, I think this is what she's trying to extract out of me or something. We have this void for positivity. So if we see something positive, we latch onto it, and we're you know, if we're we're talking click-through rates and everything else, yeah, sure, we're going to like it, we're going to comment it, and we're going to share on it more than we normally would because we don't see stuff like this enough. So you see something positive, you're like, wow, let me like that, let me share it with my cousin who's also 15 years old, as if that has anything to do with it, but we're going to do stuff like that more often because of that void.
Yes, I want to speak there. Thank you. Margini?
So, I come from a whole different perspective. Even up here, I'm a minority, so that's pretty clear. But I guess for more on kind of the PR angle of it is, I actually started in mobile and wireless PR specifically. And obviously I work with a lot of tech people, and there's a lot of different ways culturally that you can approach people, and we do a lot of international media relations, and we work with Asia a lot and India, and just working with different countries, there's a lot of different nuances in approaching them and being able to know, when do they get to work, how formal are they. In Japan, we're a lot more formal, interacting with the media, members of the media there, because they just have more of a respect issue. So it's something that we like to make sure that we're cognizant of when we're doing outreach in Asia. Things in India, their hours are a little bit later, so we're very cognizant of maybe we have to adjust our time frame a little bit and work with them and speak to them a little bit differently than we would somebody that's in New York or in Southern California or in Chicago. There's just a lot of different nuances culturally that we've had to kind of amend to, and I think it's our job as PR people as well to really understand the different perspectives that the media come from, and that's, we even brand differently in different countries. So the product I was talking about earlier called Stick and Find doesn't always resonate well, maybe in different languages, and people get a little bit confused. But approaching different trade shows, we've gone to Asia, we've gone to Spain, we've gone to Brazil with the same product, but all positioned just a little bit differently to make sure that we're really aware of the people that we're talking to, and whether it's respect or whether it's simplifying what the technology is, or just changing the branding a little bit to make it more sensitive to what people are looking at, then we make those changes, and we help our clients make those changes.
So Rajini, would you say that there is a benefit factor when you walk in the room, when you're seen in terms of who people think you are from a cultural perspective, and this kind of overtone that maybe those individuals have the technology down? How has that worked on the benefit factor, if it has worked at all?
Yeah, so it's definitely worked on the benefit factor. There's an immediate, I would say, connection there. So because there's so many Indians in technology, people have this understanding or feeling that I automatically understand what they're saying, which I'm in tech, so I do, but that doesn't really resonate across every page. But I think it does definitely give a benefit to seeing a little bit of a diversity in the group. In my group, we have Koreans and a couple of Latin Americans, and so when we work with video game companies, and we work with a lot of Korean developers. Koreans like to see another Korean person on their team, and that alone, even if they're not working on the account, just to see that they're part of their organization and they have some kind of input, they feel a little bit more comfortable with that. And I think it's just human nature. People kind of gravitate towards that.
I have to say that in one particular situation, there was an alcohol sponsor who was a part of an event, and they wanted to come out and sponsor. So they came out to my event to peruse the crowd. And the feedback that I got after, actually, was that I didn't have enough African Americans at the event. And I thought, okay, are we relating alcohol to African Americans, which is kind of this thing that is kind of out there that they drink and all of that. Then on the other side, at the event, this individual was looking for the person who was the head of the event, and they went around and around, and I was standing right there. Of course, everybody around me didn't look like me, and I was just waving my hand, but I wasn't dressed in a suit or anything like that, and he felt very embarrassed when I said, Ianot, that's me. So he didn't know if I was a man or a woman. Ianot can be both ways, but he certainly didn't expect it to be me. So even in my experiences, it goes both ways, but all of it's a learning experience. And I really take it as a learning experience. I don't take it as anything negative or anything of that nature. Kwasi, could you share with us something along those lines as well in terms of